No intro.
That's our MO. No intro.
Never an intro.
Nope.
It's kind of like
Absence.
not having an intro is kind of our intro.
I think it kind of is.
To quote
Yeah.
Singles, in a way.
Is that what it's quoting?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't think I've ever seen that.
I've seen about up to that part and was like, oh boy, I can't
I'm in
finish
trouble. I'm pulling out.
It's
Wow.
just, it's for a certain time. And honestly, that time is kind of me. Maybe it's just a little too close to home. All those flannel shirts tied around those waists. But, isn't it? And it's confessional, too, isn't it? Doesn't it start with, like, people
I have
like,
no idea.
this thing about, living, in the 90s. Maybe I'm just making that up because I also hate that in movies. But, yeah, the guy goes over to Kira Sedgwick or whatever in the club. He's like, hey. She's like, yeah, hey. He's like, a lot of guys have a thing, but, I don't have one.
My thing is I don't have a thing.
No, that's joke assassin.
That's
on
me.
the case. Collected another head. No, and she's like, well, it seems like not having a thing is kind of your thing.
Okay,
And
I
he's
see.
like, huh. And he just leaves.
Oh. Okay.
And I don't know
All
what
right.
happens after that
Because you stopped watching.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm tired of speaking of the 90s. I'm tired of explaining to everybody how old Kurt Loder is. I guess everybody knows now. I guess my job's done.
I didn't know this was news to me. Somebody on my Facebook page posted that he's 75.
Yeah.
What?
He was like drafted into Vietnam, mother.
Jeez. I had no clue.
Yeah, like,
no clue.
Speaking of Cameron Crowe movies, my whole life just relates to itself. Speaking of Cameron Crowe movies, he was working at Rolling Stone in the like almost famous era, when Crowe was there and
Okay.
Jan Werner and all those people. Yeah,
All right.
that's how he got to start. I mean, after
shows you
writing
what
for
I
Stars
know.
and Stripes or whatever,
Right.
whatever he got in the military.
Okay. I now I know. That's all I can say about that. But I just feel like wow, man, wow, rockin' grandpa. That's how I feel now. Sorry. Sorry to Kurt Loder.
or something?
I don't know.
I mean, Mick Jagger is 76, so he's only a year younger than Mick Jagger.
That just blows my mind. Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, like when Mick Jagger was,
Wow.
making music with, they were always the Rolling Stones, right?
Yeah,
well, with Brian Jones, I guess. Kurt was loaded probably in college or something like that. I don't know his whole history. But...
I know.
Oh,
but
yeah.
wow. Jeez.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we got that out of the way.
Whew.
It's our
Wow.
COVID-19 quarantine video program.
Yes, for your quarantine.
COVideos for short.
Yes.
Where we watch classic and modern films for your quarantainment. See how you gotta wait. You gotta lay in the
I
cut.
undercut you. I'm
You
sorry.
gotta wait for it. You know,
Okay. Sorry.
just in life, everything. Getting on the bus, don't do that. They'll just take off without you. But but everything else, you just gotta just feel it. Use the false Luke. Let go, Luke.
Whoa.
Meek.
Okay.
Still not happening, huh? I didn't know. We just. This was kind of planned a little bit, right?
As much as planning goes with this sort of thing.
Well, if it starts with randomness, then it's not planned, right?
Right.
And so that's how it happened.
Yes.
We started with a roll on the die,
That's right.
as we always do for your list.
Yes.
And then your choice prompted me to go, well, I got a perfect movie for that, which I
Yeah.
haven't seen in a while. In fact, I've only seen once, and I want to see again.
Yes.
And I know you haven't seen.
Yes. Yes to all of those, and honestly would have fit perfectly on my list had I remembered to put it there. But
This is why the list is
it's not perfect.
imperfect.
It's not perfect. I do add to it from time to time, but you look scared.
This is just my face.
Okay. Should we get into it?
Yeah, I guess so.
So we had... What?
Let go, Mika. Yeah, go ahead and take it.
So we had a Nick Cage double feature, which sounds as awesome as I think it was.
Yeah.
So my pick...
Sounds awesome, as I wanted it to be.
Yeah, it was awesome. So my pick was Moonstruck.
Yes. 1987 film.
Yes. Never seen before. Always heard about it. Always, I knew Nick Cage and Cher were in it, and, she slaps him and says, "Snap out of it!" But...
Snap out! I'm a longtime viewer of the trailer.
You're right.
First-time watcher of the film.
Yes, and of course the poster where she's in her...
I'm gonna snap out of it!
Yeah, she's in her evening gown and her...
And a dress that she doesn't wear in the
coat,
film.
And
right.
like, she's making a pose that she never makes in the film.
Right.
I've been lied to!
All advertising is lies.
I know, right? But it is... So I guess that's about what I knew about it, and it was written by John Patrick Shanley.
Yes. Yes.
So
the film that you could describe as a prequel to My Big Fat Greek Wedding, it's My Big Fat Italian Romance, written by John Patrick Shanley, an Irishman.
Yeah, I know.
But hey,
Yeah, I know.
it's all the same, right?
Whoa.
I'll give it to them for this. Almost every actor in the film's name ends in a vowel. Like it's, except for Cher, except for the main character.
And Nick Cage.
Coppola, hello.
Well, that's true. You're
Everybody,
correct there.
this is all, this
Very
is all
Italian.
color blind casting. As in, we're not casting any color. We're just
Whoa.
blind to color. Everybody is a big Italian person in this.
Yes.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course directed by Norman Jewison, who I could let you make the joke, which you did, but I don't want you to get canceled, even though you can tell the joke.
Because Jewison, yeah.
Oh, you're going to do it anyway.
Okay, anyways.
We both kind of screwed that up, didn't
I guess we did.
Yeah, okay. So anyway, we'll just move on. But he's probably like one of the most famous directors that you've never heard of.
Oh, okay. What else has he done?
He directed The Russians Are Coming, the original Thomas Crown Affair, Jesus Christ Superstar, the film version,
Okay.
the original Rollerball, Agnes of God,
Okay.
Fiddler on the Roof.
Sure.
Ever heard of it?
I've seen Fiddler on the Roof. That's one of the ones that you mentioned that I've seen.
And a movie that is on my list that doesn't exist.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I'm Nipsey Russell all of a sudden. In the Heat of the Night. A fantastic film.
Oh, okay.
Which he won an Academy Award for.
I have not seen that, and I've heard
Have you
of
seen the, I'm going to say NBC primetime series based on it?
No.
Have you seen, like, the 4 sequels they made to it?
No.
Hey, look,
No,
man.
I have not.
Look, man, if I'm Sidney Poitier and I've struck gold, where am I going to go? Right?
Yeah, okay. All
They
right.
called me Mr. Sequel.
Whoa.
So, yeah, he directed this all-star affair, Cher, over there. I don't know what the,
Cher during her...
what the Nipsey Russell thing is.
She kind of had an acting phase, right? Like, is she
Well,
really
this was
doing
definite.
acting anymore?
She doesn't act much anymore. She doesn't do much of anything anymore.
That's true. She's kind of unofficially retired.
In fact, you could probably find out if you care more than I do, but how much money it took to drag her out for Mamma Mia 2.
Probably a lot.
Yeah, I'm guessing a lot. But she didn't really want to do that even.
No.
And all she had to do was just come in and go, I'm sure.
I know.
I'm sure. And fine, did great, I'm sure. It was wonderful. But, Armenian.
Right.
And just a touch of Cherokee. Not Italian, but I guess it'll do for this movie. I guess it's my job, huh?
It's your job,
And I'll
yep.
shut up and probably interrupt you a bunch. A woman
Loretta.
named Loretta.
You're welcome.
I was swallowing.
Uh-huh.
A woman named Loretta lives in New York, in Manhattan, I'm guessing, uptown, and she lives with her family. They are an Italian American family with roots in the community. She's 37 years old. Here's why that's important. It's because she, and I don't know how old Cher, probably around the same age, but she's wilted too soon as a flower, right? She's got her whole life ahead of her, but she's already just
kind of just
pulling
let
the old
herself
maid
go.
bit. Yeah. And her family loves her, but they're kind of unattentive. They got their own things going on, and so she's just kind of doing her own thing. And she's dating a character whose name I don't know. I'm not going to know any of the names of these characters except Cosmo, because of Cosmo's moon. It's Crazy Moon.
What was Johnny?
Johnny. Wow.
Johnny was their. Yeah.
Was he supposed to be Italian? Yeah, he's Italian. His mother is from Italy.
Yeah.
Okay, you can be named Johnny, I guess. Anyway, that's Danny Aiello.
Yes.
And he is R.I.P. And he proposes to her. He is kind of painted as her kind of milquetoast, non-passionate sort of boyfriend. But she says, yeah, I'll marry him because good enough, right? But inside, not satisfied. Things happen. She goes to visit Johnny's brother. Johnny says, go visit my brother.
Ronnie.
We haven't spoken in, thank you. We haven't spoken in 5 years. That's too much time for bad blood. Let's let this be a mitzvah for both of us. Wrong ethnicity. And so she goes to meet the brother. The brother is Nicolas Cage. And we find out that the brother, he's a wolf. He's a loose cannon.
Yeah.
He is mad at Johnny because he blames Johnny for the loss of his hand. Mm-hmm. Although it hasn't stopped him from working the furnaces at a bakery for 5 years.
Right.
And so he's angry. He's angry Johnny. Angry Johnny. The two of them immediately go to bed with each other.
Uh-huh.
And they start to have a blossoming romance while Johnny is in... No, Angry Ronnie. You should have stopped me. Johnny is in Italy attending to his mother who's going to die.
Yes. I thought you were saying Angry Johnny because he was like an angry version of his brother or something.
It's a post song.
Okay. There you go.
It's a post song.
Oh, yeah, it is. Never mind. Sorry.
Back to the movie. And then in the meantime, other things are happening. Her mother, Loretta's mother, and her father are estranged, but sort of living together still. The father is seeing somebody on the side. The mother is trying to deal with that. The father is Vincent Gardenia. The mother is Olympia Dukakis. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Well, I don't want to... Oh, well, we can... No, do we ruin things? I can't remember if we ruin things or not.
Sometimes we ruin
but
things.
But it goes exactly where you think it would go.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this. I would say with maybe one caveat.
Okay.
I have one caveat. So
I can only have one caveat, and then I'm full.
Well, okay. So we meet Ronnie, and he's obviously angry and very passionate and like full on Cage, which I loved. But so they go back to his apartment, which is attached to the bakery, whatever. And she's telling him what's what. He gets mad, and to show that he's mad, we have him throw the table, and also maybe to show that he's passionate and maybe he's a little dangerous, and then they hook up. Why do we have to have him throw the table? I know it's shorthand, but it also seems to me like it's shorthand for this guy could potentially be abusive. And so that's what I don't like.
We never get any idea. It's coming. Look, okay. All right. So you're commenting on the toxic masculinity in the film.
Yes.
I don't think the film, the worst thing for me is after they leave the opera and she's like, look, I'm tired. This is, I don't want to be old, but at the same time, I feel too old for this shit. And I just want to go home. And he's like, no, come on in. And let's have sex. And she does it, and it's just like, that's what she should have done. And usually it's like when a woman goes, no, then it
should be a no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, this movie goes out of its way to run down other toxic figures, embodied in the great John Mahoney, who's in this movie in such a weird little part where he's this professor who like sleeps with his students and then wants to get it on with Olympia Dukakis. And she's like, keep walking, pal. So the movie is aware of that sort of thing, but at the same time, so I don't know what to say except nobody ever says that he ever put his hands on anybody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
And for whatever, it works for Loretta. Do you know what I mean? Whatever she's going on with, that's kind of what she wants. And I think the movie goes again out of its way to set up Danny Aiello as being the complete opposite, and she is not getting any of that from him.
Right.
Now, maybe if there was a Moonstruck 2 or the movie went on for half an hour, we would have her like tame Ronnie a little bit and be like, I can't keep buying tables, or something like, But since this is a story about love and people being possessed by, this moon, figuratively,
yes,
and the spirit of romance,
yes,
I think, I don't know, I'm okay with it, but I get why it can be a problem.
I mean, I think one other thing we have to mention, too, is Loretta is a little bit superstitious. She had a previous marriage, and they got married in a hurry down, at the mayor's office or what have you. There was no ceremony.
She says it's bad luck, but but it means, she compromised on
what she wanted,
being satisfied romantically, on getting the romance that she wanted, getting the attention that she wanted.
Well, she said she was in love with him, but she didn't get like the big wedding, and and then
but it's all happening again.
Yeah, right.
Like I don't question up until the last scene of the movie where the movie I think really goes into like total farce. I don't ever question like that. Danny Aiello like loves her and like wants to take care of her.
No.
And she herself says, her mom's like, "Do you love him?" And she's like, "No."
Nah.
And she's like, "Do you like him?" She's like, "Yeah, I really like him." Which is like, well, that's not what you want.
I know, but
and I can't say if like your first relationship was like that, but I don't know why it would be different.
But her mom says an interesting thing too. Like she's like, well, it's a good thing that you don't love them because when you love them, they just drive you nuts. And she's looking right at her dad.
Yeah, but she would say that.
I know.
Because she's a character whose enlightenment is premature.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But then in the last scene, it's like, stop having sex with that whore, and the dad's like, okay, and then he
slams the table with his hand, and then he's like, all right.
But that's right. It's funny, but two, it's just a concession to his, because like there's a stereotype of like the way that the house is going to be run in a family like this,
mm-hmm.
But he doesn't have that. It's like the one thing. It's like,
yeah,
okay. it's funny. And then Danny comes in and he's like, my mother's not going to die, and I can't marry you. I can't marry you, Loretta. It's like, wow, everything worked out just great.
But then she like got mad at him for saying that. But then everything worked out. Yeah.
Old people can fall in love too.
Yes.
Moonstruck.
Yeah.
Old people can fall in love too.
Whoa.
Even if it's with their 5 dogs.
Sure. I thought that it was. I mean, it has like romantic themes, and I think that at its heart. It is a movie that's in love with romance.
Oh, you think that at its heart, at its secret core, this movie is in love with romance? Let me say something interesting.
Okay.
As a huge fan of Rent, how familiar are you with La Boheme?
I'm pretty I'm not as familiar. I'm going to be honest. I'm not as familiar with La Boheme as I am with Rent.
So it's good enough. One more check off on the list.
Shut up.
And Rent has become completely worthless as anything that you could draw on.
No.
Culturally.
Because I know she's sick with TB, and I know she dies, and I know they talk about that.
Well, I know that Bohème means Bohemian. So, I mean, I guess I understand the basic setup of La Boheme, but not having seen that or Rent, I don't know anything about it, and I don't know if there's any parallels between this and Moonstruck.
Well,
but since you don't either, we're not going to waste any time.
Well, I think with those stories, it's bittersweet because they fall in love and then somebody dies, so they don't get to be together.
Well, this is the opposite of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Is Cher old Lady Gaga? Sorry. In the future, I won't read directly from my notes.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
Because she's just a couple years before, it's all gypsies, tramps, and thieves, and now, bam, here's your Oscar. Nice dress.
Well, I thought she did a good job in this.
No, she did great.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's just you wonder... Lady Gaga didn't win. She won the Golden Globe, right? But she didn't win the Oscar. Mm-hmm. And so I was trying to look at the field for that year. And 87 was a great year for movies. A lot of the 80s are a great year for movies. But I think like Fatal Attraction is the only movie that I really recognized.
Oh.
The only really high-profile one.
Okay.
And we got to keep screwing Glenn Close over. There's no way we can let her get one of these things, right? Who did she piss off? But anyway.
I don't know.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it was just, the time was right. to Gabriel Oscar. So
you had a really great insight about Nick Cage too. Do you remember? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. I don't. All right.
I'm sorry. I love Nick Cage. I do, and he's just he's great. Anyways,
every Ryan Gosling performance is just Nick Cage from Moonstruck.
And I completely agree with you.
And we'll get into this when we talk about our second film, too. But there's just something about... Like, I know that Gosling is Canadian, right? So he should be coming down here and saying sorry for everything, right? Mm-hmm. But why does he sound like a young Nick Cage? Now, Nick Cage was born in Long Beach and grew up on surfing through the halls of Beverly Hills High School, right? Like, he was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High in a extra bit part. But he was Fast Times at Ridgemont High, right?
Right.
So there's a reason that, like, he's playing, I'm a New York executive, and I talk like this. Like, there's a reason that he's doing that, right?
Yeah.
It's not that he's not a good actor and he couldn't go, well, I'm not going to do that. That
it was a
image
choice.
has helped him. One of his first movies was Valley Girl. Like, it's just, that's what he has succeeded at. Mm-hmm. I think Ryan Gosling grew up watching Nick Cage movies and went, that's what I'm going to be. And we've got it now. That's it.
I know.
I can't, that's the only thing I can come up with.
I know.
Otherwise, I don't know why Ryan Gosling acts that way.
I don't either.
But he does, like, in interviews and everything. That's just, like, that is his persona.
I know. So I think besides hearing about this movie and everything, one reason why I wanted to see this is because I like John Patrick Shanley. So I think I should talk about him just a little bit.
Oh, you mean the writer of the hit film The January Man?
Yeah, that so you mentioned that. And I have not seen it. It looks freaking terrible. I did watch the trailer. It looks like a mess.
It's a huge garbage fire. And it's funny because it stars... You know what? Here, let me just... Okay, here's who it stars. Kevin Kline, Susan Sarandon, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, Harvey Keitel, Danny Aiello, and Rod Steiger.
Yeah.
Amongst probably a few other people that I haven't... Alan Rickman in one of his first movie roles.
Right. I saw him briefly in the trailer. I was like, whoa, Alan Rickman's in this.
And it's trash.
It looks like it.
And it's funny because it's almost watchable trash, but it's basically just trash. We talked about it on Just Enough Trouble a while ago. You just weren't on that show. And it's weird because it's like a quirky comedy film that's with a dark edge. It's almost like
it's
proto...
a cop murder mystery.
Well, it's more than that. It's a guy that was a cop and became a firefighter because he couldn't handle becoming a cop. But he's also a genius profiler.
No.
And there's a killer called the Music Man.
No.
And
I hate all of this.
So except for all those hats that are stacked on top of hats, I'd almost call it like proto-Tarantino.
Because it's like marrying the dark with the
dark with the light.
Comedy.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Only two that can there be. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. It just don't. I don't know, maybe we'll talk about it again on the show someday, but not when I'm on.
Yeah, he also did Joe versus the Volcano.
Yeah, that's a cult hit for some people.
I know. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. I guess I can't judge. But
guy's got range.
Yeah.
Because you were just about to bring up Proof.
Not Proof, Doubt.
Doubt and Proof.
Did he do Proof too?
No, that's the opposite of Doubt.
Yeah.
That was the answer to Proof.
I see. A little riddle there. Okay. Yeah, which Doubt did amazingly well. I saw the play on Broadway.
Too bad Glenn Close wasn't playing the nun.
And I liked the play on Broadway. And then I saw the film, which incidentally he directed.
Yeah.
And I didn't really like the film that much. I don't know what the dissonance for me is between seeing the play and the film, but I just didn't really like it. But my experience of Shanley, for me, he has a bunch of one-act plays. And I was in I used to do acting, and I was in an acting program, and we did a collection of monologues and scenes from his one acts. So
Why?
Because that's what my teacher decided we were going to do for basically the end of our summer program.
Patricia
so our
Shanley?
presentation. No, that was not his name.
Just why? Why that though?
I don't know. That's what he picked.
These are the books that we had.
Yeah. And so I did a monologue from the play Savage in Limbo. I played Denise Savage. And I really related to her at the time, because she was a very passionate person. I mean, I guess I related to her in some levels and not on others, because she was not a very nice person. But I basically did her kind of climactic speech. And
Who got the doubt?
who got the doubt?
Who got the doubt?
Whoa.
Just like,
Probably her, because within the course
such doubt.
within the course of the night, it takes place at a bar.
It's not finished.
Yeah, I know.
It's finished.
She alienates everybody. So yeah. Anyways, I like his plays because I think they're passionate people, and they've got something to say.
I like plays about dispassionate people.
Okay, all right.
I guess that's just called Pinter.
Jeez.
This was nominated for 6 Academy Awards: Best Picture, Director, Actress, Supporting Actor, Supporting Actress, and Screenplay, written for the screen, which this was, and it won Actress, Supporting Actress, and Screenplay.
Who won is supporting actress? Olivia Dukakis?
Yes,
Okay.
Olympia.
I'm sorry, I said her name wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
So well received for sure. I don't know. I can't think of anything else to say except I think that, I mean, you're not going to try to climb over Vincent Gardenia's head, but I think that John Mahoney should have been nominated for supporting
actor
for supporting performance.
Yeah, he did a great job.
When you think about the kind of you get that character immediately, right? It's
Yes.
like Professor taking his students out.
Yeah.
And then you spend 2 more minutes with him, and you're like, this guy's got layers like an onion. Do you know what I mean? Like he knows that he's a cad, you know.
Right.
He's got a reason why, and everything he does is a little bit of a come on. So I'm sure that maybe he's told this story before, but you feel the regret in what he has to say, and he becomes he's like, why, you know. She asks him why men chase women or whatever, and you know, and he doesn't really have an answer for it, and I just there's a couple things I remember from this movie. I remember Cosmo's moon. Oh, it's the moon, and snap out of it.
Yeah.
And I remember John Mahoney just being like, "Oh, this is your place. It's nice. Oh, this is really cold out here, isn't it? Oh, it's just so cold." And she's just like shutting him down, and he's like, "Yeah, yeah." Ooh,
And I like that.
I just feel so a little bit cold.
And you know, in a film where other people are just, you know, she's like,
All right.
and she says to him, "'Cause I know who I am," you know, and I just perfect.
Yeah, but she's also, you know, it's cool. I think that's great, and I don't mean to just compliment the one like supporting male actor that wanders into the film. I think everybody in the movie is great. But what I like about that arc for Olympia Dukakis' character is that, sure, Cosmo gets to go out and take out the hussy and go to La Boheme or whatever.
Right.
And she's stuck at home, and it's easy to make that character why weren't you home? You're cheating on me. You have all the agency.
Right.
But instead she's like, I'm going to get some minestrone and just going to go out and just what happens. And she runs into this guy and has a chance to pick up this guy. And it isn't necessarily about her being tempted or whatever. It's just her kind of getting the answer to the question that she's looking for, which is, you know, this guy he's a 50-year-old professor, but he's just a little boy, you know, and she's not even attracted to that.
No.
And it's the idea that, like, I think she comes up with, like, men chase women because they're afraid of death or whatever. Yeah. And she's got this whole, like, emotional kind of journey and subplot she's going on that's just like, I got to look, we're even now, okay? You gave me Jam Mary Man?
Yeah.
You also gave me Moonstruck. So one fits into the other. The road is smooth.
All right. There you go.
All right. Can we move on?
Yes.
All right. Well, going from being struck by the moon to being struck by a bat, my choice was Vampire's Kiss.
Yes.
For my side of this equation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a movie from 1988.
So just a year later, huh?
Yes, and unlike Moonstruck, was didn't get nothing. It actually either Cage, who's the star, or the film was nominated for something at the Independent Spirit Awards.
Oh, okay. Sure, why not? It is a unique film. I'm not going to take that away from it at all.
It is a unique film.
Is that damning with faint praise?
The damneth. What? The damneth? The faintest
of
praise with which to damn you.
Okay, all right. I didn't mean it like that. That's not what I meant.
How do you spell spirit?
Spirit.
The moment's gone.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up because everybody hated this film.
Oh.
Yeah, when it came out, nobody liked it. Nobody understood it. Now I think it is. It's definitely a cult film, and it is held in, I think, high regard in a lot of circles. I'll talk about why I think it deserves that praise after you give us a synopsis.
Oh boy. So,
and like this is Jim Carrey. First of all, Jim Carrey comes out, and then Lauren Hutton's like, "I'm a vampire." Okay, just don't worry about it.
Whoa.
80s vampire movie joke.
Okay, so Nick Cage plays like this literary agent or something. What's his job? I don't know.
He's a literary agent.
Yeah. And his name is Peter Lowe, and we open on him getting therapy, so he sees a therapist. That's just part of the plot. But he also goes out at night to pick up chicks. That's something that he does. And he goes to this bar and meets this lady, and they come home, and they're fooling around. And then there's a bat, and they freak out and leave and decide to go to her place.
Synopsis.
So
Here it comes.
So the next night, he picks up another lady, takes her home, and surprise, she's a vampire, and she bites him, and he's freaking out. But then, like, as the movie goes on, we start to believe that, like, maybe she wasn't real. Like, she definitely wasn't a vampire, and he thinks that she was a vampire. She thinks that she's bit him. He thinks that he's turning into a vampire.
I don't agree with your synopsis, but
you don't?
We'll talk about it.
Okay. And he's also terrorizing this lady at work. That's
not a subplot. That's like the main plot.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
That's the only real thing that happens in this film.
Yes. Like, he is harassing her for not doing a good enough job, and she's complained about it, and nobody's doing anything. I don't feel like I did a very good job this time around.
Nah.
Okay, wow.
Nah, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
This movie is American Psycho 0.
Okay.
It is the sequel to the prequel to American Psycho.
Sure.
Don't you think?
I could see that, yeah.
Self-important
guy.
Self-important guy. It is about the emptiness of this person's life, right?
Yeah.
This person, and American Psycho was written in 91. So, I think Joseph Minion has a case against Bret Easton Ellis here. It's about a guy who has this job that's not fulfilling. He has a ton of money. Mm-hmm. He lives in the Upper West Side or whatever. Actually, right. I don't think it was that nice, but still. And it comes out, his frustration with it manifests itself in like these violent ways. And for him, it's this vampire delusion.
Yeah. Okay.
There are no vampires.
Right.
His brain is looking for a jumping off point. Mm-hmm. He's already, and anybody can and should see a therapist. I don't that's
Right.
fine.
Right.
But, maybe in a movie made in 1998, when we open and the guy's in, with a shrink,
shorthand.
we're supposed to think that he's already, not all there. And so he's already ready, and he's using the women and the casual encounters or whatever to escape it, and the bat coming in and him having the reaction that he tries to describe to her about, like, being turned on by the bat or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's like expression of paraphilia. I just think that he is like pre-delusional, like
I see.
he is
About vampires
going
and that
into a
sort of thing.
schizoid thing, and it
Yeah.
just because it's a movie, it has an easy one track, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so that's boring. That's what's happening, but that's no. What do I say? That's what happens. What it's about. That's what's happening. What it's about is it's about the soullessness of corporate, New York, white New Yorkers in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
A guy endlessly harangues his Hispanic assistant.
Yes.
That's what it's really about, and
Yeah.
his toxic masculinity. That's
Yes.
that's what it's about.
Yes.
What happens is, I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. Can a movie be both eminently gifable and also be one of the best on-screen performances ever captured? That's what I need to know. Go.
Yes.
I don't feel like there's a lot of doubt gifs out there.
No. No, and they wouldn't be very good.
Just a
ones.
lady
Yeah.
sitting on a bench.
Right.
Just looks sad.
Yeah.
The thing that I love about Nicolas Cage, and especially give a shit Nicolas Cage, what this definitely is,
Mm-hmm.
is that he looks, every moment, he looks like he's out of control.
Yes.
It looks like he is just doing a thing. But when you watch it and you see how like long the takes are, and if you think technically about like marks, in shooting, in the performance, and what he's trying to also convey, you realize how much he controls that tiger, if you will.
Yeah.
He's the king of that tiger.
Oh,
Somebody should do something with this.
Jeez, I know what you're doing.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he is so in control. And sure, it's not everybody's taste, and maybe sometimes it goes a little far or there's a little much. But he's, the A, B, C, D, E,
I was
E,
just
F, G.
thinking about
like
that.
every single thing. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I bet there's another take where Robert Bierman, the director's like, all right, less this time. And he does it, and it's totally less.
Yes.
Or they do one where he throws a chair through the window. Like, he can
Yeah.
operate on any level.
Yeah.
He's just like a rock band. Best play loud. You know what I mean?
That is so true. Oh my gosh. And then just like honestly, like the more delusional he gets, the more turned up his performances.
Well,
I
yeah.
mean, of course. But
you think about like everything that's happening in the scenes. Somebody wrote this script. Like I said, the guy named Joseph Minion wrote this script. He also wrote After Hours for Scorsese, and not a lot after that, I don't think, but he was good. But the lines, like, they don't necessarily matter. Like, I could see this guy typing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but instead you could also just write Nicolas Cage, becomes unhinged in his
right.
Psychiatrist office, like the one place where she's the safe woman in his life.
Yes.
He's the woman that he doesn't sexualize,
Right.
doesn't want to prey on or whatever.
Right.
But now he's destroying this safe space as well by acting out, in this way, this sort of petulant sort of way.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't necessarily write, he recites the alphabet, but if you get into Nicolas Cage, like, the latitude to do what he wants, he's going to
Right.
give you that.
Yeah.
And you just sit behind the camera going, sir, we can hear your hands rubbing together on the playback, so be happy somewhere else.
Oh my gosh. And I think that the actress who plays the therapist does like a great job too, and she just kind of like reacts well to his overreaction, and I love the he has like this scene later where he's totally imagining a session that he's having with her, and like that's just like they're both having fun in that, and I thought that was great too.
I did kill somebody the other night.
And she's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'll take care of the police.
I'll talk to the cops.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all great. This is a weird note, but I think there's some pretty good Foley work in this movie.
Yeah.
Well, there's a part of it. First of all, a drunk Nicolas Cage is great Nicolas Cage, and he won his Oscar drunk. Like, he's done so many drunk roles. I wonder if we should just keep him drunk, or I don't know. If he's wondering how to get back on top, get drunk. But there's a thing where they're going to bed and they're undressing, and he pops his shirt off, and you hear the buttons ping, and it's like there's no way that they picked that up on the set, right? Like,
yeah, right.
some kind of Foley room's like, check this out. But that has nothing to do with anything else. Yeah, he's trying to get her to find this contract.
Oh, God.
Alva is his secretary.
Yes.
And am I getting through to you, Alva?
Yes. It's super intense, and he she shoots a gun at him that has blanks because that's all her brother has.
Yeah.
So, okay, what I like about this movie is it's so silly and bizarre, and there's just like they're like mimes practicing a scene outside of an apartment.
There are mimes practicing a scene. That's a fight between a man and a woman.
Uh-huh.
There's also a lot of the characters are somewhat heightened as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's his perception of them.
Fair.
The movie doesn't let you know. It doesn't clue you in. Like, one of Alva's coworkers, we just open in the scene in the office, and she's like, oh, thank God it's Friday. I'm so stressed out. I can't believe it. And then, like, he walks by smoking a cigarette wearing his sunglasses, and she's like, he's so eccentric.
I know.
Like, are you supposed to be a real person? And then the cabbie, the cabbie that's taking them from, like, Queens back to Midtown is, they stop when she goes to talk to his brother, and he's like, see, that's my sweetie. And it's like, oh, okay, all right, that's a thing, I guess.
Right.
But then he shows up later as a
hallucination,
a delusion as well. So,
yeah.
like, was he the actual cabbie? Is he real? Like, what's real in the film? That's the American Psycho sort of angle.
Yes. Yeah, no, I see exactly what you're saying about that. And those lines are totally blurred, and I enjoy that. And one thing I think this film also does really well is it's so silly and funny and exaggerated 1 minute, and then the next minute it is just like so tragic and dark. So I mean, I guess in a way that's kind of like American Psycho too.
You laugh and you aren't sure if you're supposed to laugh.
Yeah, and then you get scared.
Yeah.
Like the next minute.
Yeah.
And, like, I was really worried for Alva. Like, I was like,
yeah.
What is going to happen?
Yeah, and you really, that has that in common. And that's what I like about it, is the movie has no desire to, I mean, I guess you could describe it as like a black comedy or
right.
as absurdist, but it has no desire to be categorized. It's just delivering something, and it's happy to let you laugh at it or be concerned or whatever. Like you were talking about the last scene before, where he's imagining, firing his therapist because he's got it all worked out.
Right.
And in reality, he's covered in blood, and he's dragging a broken 2x4, and he's talking to like the corner of a building, basically, on the street.
Yeah.
And it's absurd, but it doesn't just do it for like a joke. That is like the pivotal emotional scene, and it keeps going.
It does.
It just keeps going back and forth to past the point of humor, and then you're like, what is going on here?
I know.
And then in that great way, it kind of comes back around, and it's funny again.
I know. Well, and that scene too, like the last time he goes to the club, he has at this point bought some vampire teeth. This is a funny part too. He goes to like a curio shop or something like that, and there's this pair of vampire teeth that looks pretty realistic. And the guy's showing it to him, and he's like, oh, this is great. And it's like $20, but he doesn't have enough cash. So he's like, do you have anything cheaper? And he's like, oh, yes. So he hands him like Halloween vampire teeth.
Right.
That are
with the connection
plastic,
between the top and the bottom.
And he was
oh, these
are perfect. And then
Yeah, and but there's some things in the film like, how does he eat the pigeon?
I know.
That's kind of a goof,
Yeah,
right?
but like we get to the scene in the club, and he approaches the girl, and at first she thinks it's funny,
Right.
and she's like
And
mimicking him right
Yeah.
back to her, and then
he attacks her.
And
you're not, and in the way that, like, I guess you don't really know what's happening. Often in a vampire movie, like, a vampire will bite somebody and they're like, no, they're like, oh.
Right.
And you don't know if it's vampire power or whatever. I guess in this, she's just bleeding to death because she stops fighting. And then later, we see the New York Post, Disco
Death?
Slasher or whatever.
Yeah.
Disco Death. Yeah.
And
this is not my audition for the New York Post. I need to prepare first.
And it was just like, holy crap, he actually killed somebody. This guy is a menace.
Yeah, but I mean,
to himself
where was
and
this
to
gonna
others.
go? Yeah.
I know. Like, where else could it go?
Yeah, we
and
didn't
then
know that
like
person.
and then the end of the movie. Holy crap.
yeah, he had it coming.
I guess. I know.
And the way that it sort of, like in a, I don't know, Hammer horror film or something like that, if Dracula attacks a young woman and then her
Brother
strapping
or
young
lover.
brother,
Yeah.
played by Ricky Nelson or something like that,
Yeah.
comes in and gets the guy. Yeah, I mean, that it sort of also kind of maps onto a vampire movie too.
It
But
does.
yeah, just that thing where he's deluding himself. He's having a hallucination about talking to his therapist, and she's like, if it's all about love, we can handle that. The lady who sees me right after you, she's talking about the same stuff. I'm going to bring her in here.
I know.
Sheila, come in here.
Sharon.
Yeah, and they're talking, and and then that just when they talk about like, oh, you like Vivaldi and Japanese food too?
Yes.
To me, I just heard like, you like Huey Lewis in the news?
I
That's what it
see.
reminded me of.
I
It's like
see.
that same sort of vapid yuppie culture.
Yes.
So we've got absurd characters that are outsized. We've got people self-destructive behavior. We've got the delusions and stuff like that. We've got teeth involved. This whole thing seems kind of Lanthimosian to me. And I thought we might introduce the COVideo audience. If they haven't met before, our little game of Bingos Lanthimos. The game where we take a movie and we evaluate it on our Bingos Lanthimos board
Gotcha.
and compare its similarities to the films of Yorgos Lanthimos.
Let's do it.
I think this is in the neighborhood of a Yorgos Lanthimos film.
I can see it. Yes, it's got comedy and it's dark. So yeah,
It's got comedy and it's dark.
biting.
You're in.
Okay.
Pick a dark comedy.
Wow.
What's another dark comedy? I'm kind of over dark comedy, to be honest.
Drop Dead Gorgeous, but you don't like that one. But it is a dark comedy.
That's a farce.
You think that's a farce?
Drop Dead Gorgeous?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
From all these girls from Mount Rose? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a farce.
Okay. All right.
I would say that Lanthimos films have farcical elements, but I don't think that you would you call The Imposter, The Favorite, whatever it's called?
The Favorite?
I saw it once. It was all right. Now that he's all American. Is that a farce?
No, I wouldn't quite call it a farce.
You call it a farce in that just sort of archaic way of like, people are doing things and saying things they don't mean.
Right.
But it's not like a farce.
No, it's not like noises off.
Nobody
or something.
pukes up cake and then eats more in a farce.
Yeah.
So I wish I could show you our board. I've got it somewhere. I know it's up on the website, but I'm looking at a T-shirt that we had made up that's got the board on it.
Yep.
And there are 25 squares, but really there's only 24 things because the center square is a free space.
Of course.
So here's our board. Number 1, unsexy sex. We didn't even talk about Jennifer Beals.
Yeah, right.
Technically, there is no sex in this movie.
No,
but,
you're right.
but I mean, it's pretty sexy sex.
Yeah. I wouldn't
she-
say it's unsexy.
And the movie also doesn't talk down to you or explain things to you. I like that. But are we to get that he dated her in the past, in the real world?
Possibly, yes.
And because he
Because he
says high
does run
school
into
at
her.
one point. This
Yeah.
stupid high school bitch or whatever. So it's like, I don't know if she was his first love or something like that. But clearly, he has not said this out loud because he can't express it because he doesn't understand it. It's subconscious. But he has been obsessing over her.
Yeah.
So when he has this break, she appears as this sexy vampire.
Yeah.
Lady.
I wasn't sure if that was a reference to when he's talking about high school with Alva or not.
Who's in high school?
His secretary. They talk about high school when they talk about the
Those
hallucinogenic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mescaline.
Yeah, mescaline, which I don't think I'd ever heard of before.
You've never heard of mescaline?
No.
All right. It's the only way to fly. So let's say no. Great. Good.
Yeah.
Doing great so far.
Okay.
I guess I'm going to have to add these up here. Stilted dialogue.
I would say yes.
Would you?
Yeah.
Give me an example, because I would call all the dialogue, which 90% of it is by Nick Cage, to be incredibly verbose. But I'm willing to entertain it being stilted.
Maybe it is.
He never shuts up.
Well, that's true.
Vaccinated with a phonograph.
Yeah. So maybe that's a no too.
Head trauma. There's neck trauma.
There's neck trauma. Neck trauma is adjacent to head trauma, so I'm going to say...
Okay, so it's also adjacent. The neck is adjacent to the boob, and the boob is adjacent
okay.
to
all right.
the butt.
I guess technically no head trauma in this.
Well, I'm going to... Because we don't have anything on the board, let's say yes.
Okay.
Adults acting like children.
Yes.
We've got yes for that one for sure.
Yep.
Making up a game. Is anything gamified?
I don't think he really makes up a game unless you consider being a vampire a game.
Okay,
in which case he
that's
is
really stretching it.
Winning.
I don't. Yeah, we got to pass on this one. I think.
Okay.
Violent punishment. He chases her all over the office.
Yes.
That is violence, whether he lays his hands on her or not.
Yes, he does chase her into the bathroom
We're still not 100%
as well.
sure if he rapes her or not.
No.
Body horror?
Would you call it body horror?
Is this your new game that you're making up?
Yeah.
Making up a game. Would you call it body horror? Look at these pictures.
I mean, he gets stabbed by a 2x4, but I wouldn't really call that
That's
horror.
Just violence.
Yeah.
That's just violence.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'd say no, specifically because there's an opportunity for him to file his teeth or to mutilate himself or something like that. And he does not, really.
No.
I can't see him doing that because it's all about him.
Right.
He's a megalomaniac.
Yeah.
Inane discussion about material objects. Or let's just say, I never found anything bad, not even one time. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
Well, I mean, that's pretty inane, just yelling the alphabet at your therapist.
Does anybody have a flat affect? A flat affect. Not Ben Affleck.
No, I don't think so. I think his affect is pretty all over the place.
Even Maria Conchita, when she's traumatized by stuff, is still expressing emotion.
Yes. Yeah.
Or we won't count Jennifer Beals as bad acting as flat affect.
Whoa.
Hey. For an actress, she's a great former teen model.
Whoa.
She gets better. She's on the L word. She's good on that.
Yeah.
Bribery.
No.
We're going to strike out on this, but it's important to know why we strike out.
Yes.
Awkward dancing.
Well, there is a lot of dancing.
There is a lot of dancing.
Is it awkward? I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like we focus on it enough to really know.
It's not called out as awkward.
No.
It's no dogtooth scene.
I mean, the mimes when they're... No, not... they're dancing,
I got a new square for our thing.
Okay.
So no, misnaming things or people.
I don't think so. He thinks Rachel is a vampire, but when he runs into her later in real life, her name is Rachel.
Yeah. So
I don't think there's any misnaming.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, he... No.
Mm-mm.
Interesting. Identity erasure.
Well, he kind of loses his identity a little bit.
But I think that he is using he's becoming. So this is also a metaphor about abuse, right?
Yeah.
We see maybe why he lost Rachel. Like he is very abusive.
Yes.
And even when he has his fantasy girl Sharon at the end, that he gets about halfway down the street and he's already
and they start bickering,
yelling at her, and yeah. And
why don't you turn into a vampire? Can we not have kids?
Yeah, right. Just get out of here. Yeah. So I think that's. I don't think that's. I think he's just becoming his identity more. I think that the vampire.
Oh, I see what you're
vampire
saying.
is a predatory creature. It's an excuse for him to be that way. He doesn't have to face the fact that he is just abusive.
A jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Self-mutilation. Doesn't have to go with body horror because somebody else can mutilate you to have body horror, but I don't think he really does.
No. He's checking out his teeth, trying to see if they're growing, and I think that's why he buys the teeth, because they're not growing.
Inappropriate. We got to move on, so this isn't 3 hours.
Okay.
Inappropriate family interaction. Yeah.
Oh,
you can be close with your sis, but
why are you going to climb on your brother's lap and cry?
He doesn't have a shirt on.
Yeah, it's a little
weird. I want those two kids to get together. An intrusion of American culture. An American culture intrusion.
That doesn't really fit with this because this is an American film.
I wouldn't so quickly go there.
Oh.
Like if at one point he was like, "You gotta have a Coke. It's the real thing." That would be an example of that. But of course, he doesn't do that.
No.
Oh, they're looking for a contract from this writer who wrote this story called Rattlesnake Flats or something like that.
Yeah, right.
Which sounds like a novel
Western?
of the American West.
Yeah, it does.
I don't feel like stretching that much. Oh, here comes the square. You always make fun of me, and I'm proved right 60% of the time. Stickers. Are there any stickers in the movie?
I wish there were, but there are not.
Can stickers be sharp teeth?
Yeah, right.
He sticks stuff to his windows. There's no stickers.
No.
It's fine. Predatory authority figures. He is one.
He is definitely one.
Sadism. I'd say so.
Yeah.
Sexual fluidity. And in that,
I
mean characters who are not presumably, not that you should presume anybody, but I mean who are presumably not one orientation, just becoming another one.
We don't see that in this film.
No. This doesn't really deal with that at all, which is weird. It's New York in the 80s.
Yes.
Performing.
The mimes.
That's the easy way out.
But are they really performing or are they practicing?
Okay, whatever. Stop. Mimes are always on. The world is their stage. Pets.
Not unless you count the pigeon.
Well, I count the bat.
Oh.
Here's a weird thing about Yorgos Lanthimos. Bathing suits.
That is a weird thing about Yorgos Lanthimos.
That's the fact that it's on this thing.
Yes.
This guy's got a lot of bathing suits in his movies.
It's in a lot of his movies.
People are wearing bathing suits.
Yes. No.
No, I don't think so either. And our last square, actors' heads cut out of the shot. Just saying, unconventional framing that focuses on the mise en scène rather than the performance of the actors. No, this is all framed up pretty much traditionally.
Yeah. Yes. How
So
many do we have?
That only got a 9 out of, well, we don't count the free space. 9 out of 24.
That's not bad.
That's less than an F.
What is that, an F minus?
Yeah. So that is not Lanthimosian, or at least not as much as I thought.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Well, here's my theory as to why that is.
Okay.
Is because Yorgos Lanthimos movies are post-dramatic. Do you know what I mean? Brecht would know what I mean.
I think I know what you mean.
They're presented, they're not like aware they're in a film or whatever. It's not fully Brechtian, but they're presented, with the audience being moved by the specifics of the story and the drama as completely secondary to you just, experiencing each scene, each performance kind of judged on its own and meant to unsettle you.
Yes.
And question your assumptions about what you're seeing, but also just your assumptions about what drama is. Whereas this is very strange, and it is given to certain actors and performers to completely go off the rails and enchant you and confuse you with what they're trying to do. But it's, I think it's conventional in that way. I don't think of it as being lesser for that reason. No. But it just isn't trying to do that specific thing. It's not starting off saying, let's freak some people out. I mean, it is. But not let's freak some people out by playing with traditional ideas of story.
Right. Let's freak some people out by having Nicolas Cage run around saying I'm a vampire and...
Right. Like in a Yorgos Lanthimos film, here's a scene. Colin Farrell is a doctor who is directly responsible for the death of Barry Keoghan's father because he was drunk when he was operating on him.
Yep.
That'll all become clear later in the movie, but we need a scene of them bonding, but we need to understand that it is somewhat shallow bonding because Colin Farrell is not very good at this and also maybe shouldn't be doing it. And so it is, do you like this watch? It's a diver's watch. It can go 200 meters below. I like that watch, but I like a leather band better. That's
Yes.
Done and dusted.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, got it. Move on. Next scene.
Yeah.
Are you sure? Will we be bringing robots in when we shoot? But that's not what this is trying to do. This is actually rather conventional in its conventionality.
Yes.
We'll go for it. We'll go with it.
Yes. I would agree with that.
Would you recommend it?
Yes, I would. I would definitely recommend Vampire's Kiss as well as Moonstruck. I don't know if I've said that before or not, but not COVID. I would not recommend COVID, and you're not coughing up COVID.
Do you know that David Hyde Pierce is in the film?
What?
Yes.
Where?
He has a very small part as a guy in the theater.
Where?
What theater? I don't know. Did you know that John Michael Higgins is in it?
Wait. Are we talking about Vampire's Kiss or Moonstruck now?
Vampire's Kiss.
In what theater?
I don't know. He's credited as theater guy.
Okay, then. Okay.
John Michael Higgins is in this as well.
I feel like I should know who that is.
Seize the day, Mr. Ringer.
Oh. Who is he in this?
He is credited as Ed. And just right before Nicolas Cage meets Jennifer Beals, they're panning down this bar, and there's a lot of again, this is not exactly Foley, but the sound work is a plus. You can still hear everybody's individual conversations. Yeah, which I thought was interesting. And then one guy in the foreground is like, "Well, I don't know if about you do that. What do you think?"
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's
okay. All right.
the guy from Walk Hard.
Yeah. Right. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. That's funny.
Well, I mean, it wasn't really all that funny, but he's funny and stuff.
He's funny.
We got it.
Would you recommend it?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Yeah.
And
I'm so glad we did this.
I can't defend it. Like, it's ridiculous. But it's all intentional.
Yeah.
And, critics savaged it. And, guys, lighten up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, I don't know when we invented or we're okay with things like not everything has to be, quote unquote, good.
Or,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, something can be... that's Nicolas Cage's entire career is him just being, intentionally ridiculous and bad. And, it wasn't until he played it straight that he got an Oscar, but whatever. Tells you a lot about the system.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yep.
So,
I think so too.
I think we need to sign off. I'll go cough some more and tell myself it's not the COVID. And we'll be back soon with more movies to talk about. And until then, stay healthy and stay safe.